Jiejie's really hard to deal with, unironically.
Look, I gotta say, even if ZDC doesn't play it, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to play this champion, as long as the enemy top laner also has no idea how to play against it.
That's actually, do you know, I've dubbed it it's the IQ skill check champ.
Yeah.
It actually is just a, you know, you've got the E, the test of spirit. It's just the test of intelligence. Is why I like it's cool.
It really is. As you know, like, I don't know. Alawi, anytime I've ever had to run into it, I'm just like, I don't know what to do against this champion. They probably don't know what they're doing either, but I will lose. Now for AL, it would be nice to see them. Okay, 4-5. You know, you get your picks in.
Yeah,
you ban out more carry top laners. You take them away. You force Ala onto a side. Sun actually is his most played champion this split. Surprisingly enough. I guess there's no Sejuani coming out for the side of EDG, though, with Defective Visor. But you hit on it. A lot of focus been put towards bot lane in this meta. Don't know if it'll be the same in this game, too, so far, with the fact that we have Zeri, Lulu on one side, with now Aphelios Thresh. But hey, Hook City time, pick potential is there. No matter what happens in top lane, there's always going to be room for SwordArt to try and make something happen. And after game one, Jamada, I listen to what you say. You want AL to be proactive. You want to see things happen on the map. Thresh can do that.
Yeah, exactly. They've got Thresh, and that's a really, really strong playmaking tool, specifically in the early game, of course, and just being able to provide what he can in the team fights to give picks like Aphelios the kind of space and room that he might want to operate with the Lantern. And all of his other defensive tools. Now, EDG are going to remove away Ping G's Rise, no surprise there. Syndra is going to be taken away from FoFo. Again, you've got Vi, and Syndra is just a very, very powerful champion. 2-point-and-click abilities like that. Very, very oppressive to deal with. I feel like for the side of EDG, they have one of two options. You've got the Vi, so you've got one, means of proactive engage here. You're either going to play hardened solo lanes because you've got, the hyperscaling of Zeri Lulu, so you're going to be alright knowing that as long as that lane doesn't fall too far behind, you're going to be able to team fight. Or you're just going to index fully into team fighting. Someone like Sion and then, oh gosh, I mean, I would say Azir in previous patches, but of course, fallen out of the priority bin, as it were, in recent times, as anyone's legend now looking towards potentially picking up something like the Ksante on the top side for ZDZ. Which I feel like into Arla's champion pool, Arla's just gonna either go someone like, I don't know, Arla's the kind of player that will go something like the Fiora, the Camille, Gwen, all of these very, very strong duelists. So I feel like the blind here into Arla, specifically here with this Ksante, a little bit audacious, but we'll see what Ksante can get done.
I also feel like it's very telling, right? You just highlighted the two options, solo lane route or play hard for team fights. If they went to Sion, which is still available, it would signal to us already what they'd be wanting to do with that mid lane pick, potentially, to where if they go this, can they index more into playing with their solo lanes? Worked incredibly well in game one, and now it's time for FoFo to go. Still a lot of options open, especially things that work with Vi, the Talias, if you want to go more aggressive, the Ahris of the world.
Yep.
Like, I feel like so many different choices for FoFo, and what they want to look to do. And now, kind of having a general idea of where EDG are going, I guess what would you like to see Pinzio to round up their comp?
I mean, I feel like you have to play something kind of defensive here for the side of anyone's legend. It's kind of a tough situation, to be honest with you, because there are such strong lanes already set up. Veigar, that's really interesting. Okay,
hey, that's defensive.
That's really defensive. Now, the only issue I do have is that Vi can technically just ult right through the cage. So at level 6, it can get a little bit tricky, but you very much can trap her if she oversteps. So very briefly, did get buffs on this patch as well, Veigar. Slight range increase on the cast ranges of both the Q and the cage. So Veigar has a little bit more flexibility in that regard. Still very much that kind of short to mid-range burst mage. I think into the composition of EDG though, a lot of mobility generally across the board, that the Veigar pick can actually have a fair amount of...
You can get those buys into playoffs, be in the double elim portion, and really just make the easiest time for yourself to try to get one of those two slots going to MSI. So with the stakes, with the narratives out of the way, we can now go wherever we please.
Oh my god, is this the part where we just talk about stuff? Yo.
So, I haven't been in the UK too long, and I'll be honest, I haven't really gone out at all. Like, I can count the amount of times I've gone out on a hand. It's
Okay.
pretty tragic. But I'm still trying to pick up more UK slang. The
God.
only thing I've gotten so far, and I don't know if this is UK slang or if this is just munchable slang, is that he calls soda fizzy pop. And I have now
He calls
adopted to do that for the
soda
rest of
fizzy
my
pop?
life. Yeah, he does. Is that not a UK? Is that a munch thing? I asked him, and he said people in the UK do call it that. I don't know if he was lying to me.
It's not necessarily uncommon. I feel like you just call it a fizzy drink, though. You wouldn't call it like. You wouldn't call it fizzy pop. all the
Fizzy
time.
pop sounds so adorable, though.
It does sound quite adorable. I'll give it that. I think there's a slight culture difference between me and Munch there on the fizzy pop and fizzy drink scale. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Fizzy pop's alright. But it's very much a Munch thing because you would normally, if you're talking about like, you know, Coke or Pepsi, it's fizzy. Not necessarily.
You
called,
know, sadly, that really is the only thing I picked up, other than, you know, the stock and standard. Like, you can't live here without saying cheers or, you know, hey mate, or things like that. But this is a little bit tragic. You know, Jamada, I feel like you should have a good bit of USA slang as well.
Not really. I'll be honest. With my very brief experience with American slang, generally, I mean, I do. Okay. No, see, here's the thing. Here's the problem. I do know a fair amount of American slang. The issue is I can't say it on this podcast.
You can't say it on this podcast. You know, I thought about that after I asked you, and I was thinking slang. I'm like, wait a second. You know, I'm just saying we could throw both of our careers away right now. You want to talk about your stances on social issues, geopolitics, player punishments in League of Legends that were, you know, maybe you want to go down those routes?
No, I'm okay.
I'm just saying, if there's any cast I'd be willing to throw away the career and do it with, it'd be right here, right now with you.
You know, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that, Lyric. I think. Do you know what ZDZ's probably not going to appreciate? This jungle path thing. To be honest with you, from Jiejie, slipped over the ward.
Right now, as he goes, popped, still trying to run him down, holding the Q, does get the knockback, and yeah, ZDZ, like you said, not going to appreciate that pathing coming out from Jiejie. They are able to find that first blood, so last game, I believe it was AL, off to a good early start. EDG did find an early gank in top side. They do that once again. They hit it first. And when we said, hey, for AL, it's about surviving some of these early plays around soul lanes, not really off to the best start.
No, not the best at all for the side of AL dealing with this potential strong solo lane setup. And Ala, we said, is the kind of player that would be very happy to pick up matchups like this, you know, Camille, Fiora, Gwen, these side lane menaces, and into a matchup like Ksante where, you know, you can have a lot of priority in the early stages. I feel like with the Ksante matchup, specifically with Fiora, you get a little more breathing room at level 6 as Ksante in terms of, you know, turning power. There is still a lot you have to worry about. You can't, you know, haphazardly throw your Q3 at Fiora in the means of nearly getting riposte stun back in the 1v1. But once that all-out's available, you get a whole bunch more extra damage. So we'll see whether or not ZZ can utilize that. He found a solo kill in the previous game. It's not unlikely that I could find one again.
So we're talking about, you know, that 6 coming online and kind of looking at AL's comp holistically. Do you think it's a route where, like, once ultimates come online, Xiaohao can start either playing around topside looking for counter ganks, or do you think for AL it's more just about kind of keeping up defensive vision, looking to keep info and scale up? I guess to boil it down, are there any opportunities for AL when, again, they are just so heavily indexed into a lot of scaling?
Yeah, I feel like the issue is with both their bot and their mid lanes being, you know, set up for that mid to late game success. For AL, you know, you would then look, okay, well, what about the top side of the map? You know, that's where you would normally look if you can't play on the other 2 lanes. The issue is, it's into a Fiora and all of your CC is telegraphed. So it's really hard to make proactive plays. So I think it's going to have to be the latter. I think it's going to have to just be defensive vision and see what you can scavenge off the map. And right now, able to scavenge off this dragon, which is a really big deal for them. It just means, you know, no early potential dragon soul stacked up for EDG, and that gives your team a lot more time to scale up as Jiejie caught a little bit of sleep at the wheel there. just kind of sat back as the lane was trying to push into him, and EDG forced the flash.
He just did not expect that. Jiejie had been actually sitting in that brush the whole time while Dragon was going on. Maybe seeing if Pinsy made a misstep or like passed through a river to try to get back to lane. But once you pointed out, Pinsy kind of just hanging out, chilling, maybe having a sip of his fizzy pop. I don't know if that's allowed on stage, but
I don't. No, I feel like you'd only be allowed water, right? I feel like because those kind of drinks are normally sticky, right?
I know back in the day you were allowed to have coffee. Even quite recently, because I remember someone spilled coffee on a keyboard at like an MSI or something in the past few years. Is Cage going to come out onto FoFo? Very patient, does have the flash to manage to be able to escape. Charm goes wide. But yeah, I remember a coffee got spilled not too long in recent years, and that was the issue. So I don't know if after that, maybe Riot did like kind of come out and be like, hey, you know, this shouldn't be a thing, because they had to go spend time to get a replacement keyboard because yeah, the coffee got everywhere.
I think that was last year, right?
I feel like it was.
No. You know what? I think it was Worlds. I don't think it was MSI, because I remember there was a lot of weird pauses that happened at Worlds, and I don't think it delayed the game, but the thing I always, for some reason, remember at Worlds is how Jojo Pyun couldn't wear his Crocs on stage.
Yes.
Because it wasn't like appropriate attire, which, yeah, definitely an odd rule. But
I know. I remember that
rules
because I did a shoey out of Crocs at that Worlds because of that.
Yeah.
And it worked really well.
Right.
It actually worked way too well. I thought it would get everywhere because, you know, again, Crocs have a bunch of holes in them. So I'm like, cool, none of this is going to get into my mouth. Then I start doing the shoey, and it all got in there. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And yeah, it was
basically just drinking out of a straw.
Exactly.
You know?
It was actually it's actually a big mess, and not one of my more elegant moments, I would say.
But you earned a lot of respect with the people from the Upside Down land, also known as Australia and New Zealand. So
I didn't get as much clout as I was hoping I would. And let's be real. If there's one thing this world runs by, it is by clout. There was no clout for me in that moment.
Based on truth.
Yeah, AL will come back looking for a bit of clout themselves, taking out another top team in EDG. They're starting off Herald, so despite the fact that we haven't seen them able to make any of those like proactive like plays on lanes or look for ganks, like we said, able to find these opportunities. Cage comes out, knock up doesn't land from ZDZ, so another objective that they're just able to pick up for free with no answer from EDG.
Yeah, Anyone's Legend kind of just making their mark on this early game, and EDG, you know, it has to be said as well, it's not like they don't scale well, but it feels like Anyone's Legend being first the objectives, making EDG have to check into Fog of War, it's just about enough pressure to, you know, prevent EDG from making proactive plays, from really setting the pace or the tone of this game. And I mean, so far that Anyone's Legend have been able to pick up these objectives, so really nice from them. We'll see how they continue to try and snowball this lead that they found themselves with in that objective department, still down 1,000 gold, but can be made up, of course, with the Herald, potentially with the next Dragon as well, a little bit.
Cease and desist. Now up for Jiejie. So you highlighted earlier that it's one of the things that can get past Pinsy's cage. Now looking towards the top side to get on ZDZ. Still relatively early in the game, so isn't all too tanky just yet. So they should be able to get this. They have a minion wave. They have full health bars. Yeah. Let's see, knocked up. Can ZDZ survive this? Gonna go for it. I was gonna say I popped again. No, he has no chance. Spirit Rush comes out. Cease and desist follows through. AL though will try to answer back on the bottom side of the map, but EDG, they're too smart to this, Jamada. They aren't like me. Their brains aren't pausing for a moment to think, hey, what am I supposed to do right now? They know back off. We got our play on top side. We'll open up potentially for at least one plate to come out for AL.
Yeah, they get one. They're going to drop the Herald, and there's 4 members down here. Lightning crack there, but
Gonna go in for it. Moonlight Vigil. I should have let you have that.
I was there.
That was
okay.
Next one you get. Next one.
Next one. It's all right.
I thought you building the hype.
I know. I almost had it down. I was,
you know,
play by play. It's fun.
I do gotta say, at least that actually didn't break out into a fight. So it actually kind of just like fizzled out when the interruption came through anyway. So EDG manages to buy time, but man, this game so far is not going how I expected at all. Like AL just seem like they're getting everything.
But I think that plays into picks like the Thresh here. It's so hard to walk in. Where
CC
EDG just get a bit scared.
Gonna follow through. Jamada, you did sound like you were gonna take this one, but Leave was ready to take the kill. FoFo able to follow through on Betty too. So we were just saying, hey, AL finding a lot more than what we expected. EDG this time are there to contest the Drake. They are gonna not only get those 2 kills, but pick that one up. So nice to finally see the counterpunch come out from EDG, leading in gold, leading in kills, and now gonna be even in Dragons.
Yeah, they will be even in Dragons. However, Betty did get a lot off that bottom side play, generally, so I still feel like AO are in an okay situation where PNG's also scaling up, but you see picks like Thresh, I think that's been, you know, a lot of the spur of the reason why EDG have been so timid to step forward many times, but disengaging the collapse, the pincer is way too much for anyone's legend to deal with and get punished for that particular contest without defending well. Besides, there's, oh, hello. All out underneath the tower. Ala. We'll just pop the ghost and run away, so he's gonna be okay, but always quite scary. You end up in that situation. The riposte can be worked against you at times.
Oh, this is, oh, the hook lands. Moonlight Vigil. We're gonna see.
Wow.
Oh, not even needing it. I think it might have actually even still just been on cooldown for like an extra second before that play came out, but the CC chain was there. That was all that mattered, and now gonna see if anything can be found in mid lane. FoFo waiting because he's stuck in the cage, being brought down low. Does have the flash. Away from the ult, but PinZ has the flash for himself. Follows through, and out of nowhere, 2 picks for anyone's legend. Oh my god, Jamada. We just don't stop. We just don't stop. Lantern into hook. Moonlight Vigil now there.
Oh
and AL are turning around every play. Can they find it? Doesn't seem like it, but Xiaohao trying to wrap around. Jiejie manages to escape it still. The fact that they've turned around so many plays. Wait, Xiaohao does manage to escape at the end of the day.
All right. So 2 back-to-back hits for anyone's legend there. They won't be able to take down this tower on the bottom side, which I feel like is potentially the goal of the collapse there. But still, not too shabby. And PNG is 2-0. He has his Rod of Ages. And he's just going to silently scale in the mid lane. So I feel like really, you know, I think by standards of anyone's legend, a pretty positive early game, if I'm going to say so myself.
Yeah,
SwordArt.
I feel like not getting dumped in like a 20-minute game is you know, again, no offense to AL, but they are sitting at 2-10. They have been a bottom team. They were last place for majority of the split before they were able to catch up to FPX. Now FPX, I believe, is sitting under them by 1 game difference. AL have like 1 more game win over FPX. So the fact that in game 1 and now game 2, actually able to put up a fight, actually keeping it close in terms of gold. Sure, we still see it seems like EDG in terms of some of these like coordinated map movements to take objectives have been better, but in terms of like the individual skirmishes to setting up like one-off picks or ganks, AL are definitely able to match Edward Gaming.
Yeah, they can at points, definitely. I feel like they've got the tools to do it. It does. I know, but sometimes you just have to catch what gets said, you know?
Yep, I agree.
And there's a lot of nuance in casting, right?
100%.
A lot of the time, all right, we're having this talk. I feel like a lot of the time, generally, some viewers do take what casters say at face value, and it makes sense. Why would you not, on occasion? But sometimes you gotta just, you know, do a little bit of thinking outside the box, right? Are AL able to realistically match EDG every single time in skirmishes? No, because one team is 10-2 and the other team is 2-10. There might be a bit of a pattern how they play against each other here. As hello, EDG moving forward. SwordArt's probably going to drop here, no flash. And that cease and desist, a little bit too powerful for SwordArt to withstand. And they do make it out of the Herald at the very least, anyone's legend, so they're happy with that exchange.
You know, I like that you gave the explanation because it just shows you are a caster of the common man. You are looking out for everyone. You don't want to be taken out of context.
Yeah, well,
I don't.
Yeah,
like,
well,
I'll say AL can match EDG at every stop, every battle. AL are there. You see right now ZDZ. You think ZDZ is going to go down? ZDZ doesn't die. Come on, ZDZ. You can outplay this. Go forward. Does get polymorph, but you can outplay the polymorph, ZDZ.
There's 5 people
there. He did his damnedest to do it. One like mouse click in a different direction, he outplays Jamada. I tell you, EDG playing dirty. Needing 5 members to take down ZDZ? That's all I gotta say.
I mean, you know, 200 years, sometimes you need 5 members. You know, we've seen Ksante really hard in situations like that before.
I love that. Ksante's just a verb now? Just Ksante?
Yeah, Ksante is just a verb. I mean, there is, I don't know if it's the 70 emote, but there's like a bunch of champions with like Irelia is one where she just dashed into a pole cleanse. She's not gonna be able to look out leave.
Leave in
really
a pretty safe
close, but
spot.
summon a blown though is the important thing. So now, you know, can't step forward aggressively. Another cage could spell doom.
Yeah, even things like
there you go, Doom.
Okay, gonna get picked off.
Dead.
Meiko immediately gone. Re-engage comes out. We see Betty answered up with, and now EDG able to run AL down. And my God, this looked like it was supposed to be much closer than this. But with FoFo, with Leave following up, they are just getting the best of anyone's legend. Turret goes down, and I once again gotta say it, as the biased AL caster, not playing by the rules, not following the honor code of gentlemen. And I'm a bit disappointed. A bit
win.
Disappointed, Jamada.
Why? What's on your mind?
Look, we're gonna see here, like Cage comes out as Meiko.
Right.
He does the respectful thing. You just go down, you accept your life is gone.
Fair.
SwordArt, maybe, I don't know if you use your hook here, but whatever happens. Here though, not allowing Betty to back off, not letting him reposition after the fair chance, and letting DPS for DPS go at it and see which AD carry can outdo the other one? I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know, I actually think one of the biggest issues there in that team fight is that Xiaohao accidentally used his ult on Meiko, who was already dead.
Oh, did he?
And effectively, he didn't really get to do much in the team fight. So it did make things a little bit awkward, even though they found the first pick. I think the fact that Leave was able to just kind of open up on the entirety of AL whilst EDG advanced forward and bought that space made it a little bit more one-sided than it perhaps deserved to be.
Yeah.
I
do gotta say,
pretty unfortunate. We saw the Herald charge there as well. Good for AL. They get a tower.
They answer back. So now only sitting at a 1 turret deficit. They are still 3k gold down. And now we're getting to the point we build tension. 1 minute till Baron spawns. 1 minute and 10 seconds actually. I want to be specific. 3 minutes, 56 seconds until like wards being killed all around the map. And I'm going to build it up because ZDZ, he's farming waves. Allah waiting in brushes. We want a cheeky brush place in this series because in this series, AL, they need to win. Because if AL, they don't win, they are eliminated. EDG, they don't need anything. They're locked into playoffs, and I want to see if EDG are going to try and throw at a Baron again. EDG, do you have it in you? Do you have the spirit? We actually have an engage. I wasn't expecting this. Leave. He jumps in, and okay, this actually isn't all that tense. This isn't all that hype because, yeah, EDG, they set up for a pick. I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted nothing to happen. That's what the tension was for. The tension wasn't meant to go somewhere, Jamada. It was meant to be a bait. It was meant to all be a lie.
Alas. My senior.
Yeah, put respect on the name.
Sometimes League of Legends doesn't go the way that you want it to. And Pinji just found himself, unfortunately, between a rock and a very, very hard power ball. As ZDZ, I think he can win this 1v1 currently. That was...
I don't know about that.
That was like 400 damage off that vital block. And immediately just turn around, nope, never mind, I'm okay, as just kind of fishing, it seems like, EDG. And they find their man really, really easily. It does take a while to drop, and that's just the power of, you know, Arcane Staff and Row Up, but eventually does go down as I think anyone else is able to fall, but you can already see the forward power of EDG is a little bit powerful, a little bit scary to work with here. Xiaohao chunked out by Leave, and Leave is also online as well now.
I feel like this game, we're seeing a lot more of what we hit on coming into the series, that Leave is willing to play like a madman. Like, again, sure, they're up, but even in like the last replay, right? Playing so far ahead of the rest of his front line, we're like looking for that lead, having no fear right there once again, having trust in Meiko that he's able to go forward. And now, 5k gold lead, so much vision control. I don't know AL. Okay.
All right.
That seemed like a bit of a strange TP.
I wish I could tell you what that TP was for, but frankly, I can't.
Here, Jamada, bring back your top lane experience once again, and you know, put yourself. You are ZDZ.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's no time for that. Eddie just gets singled out. EDG, they just keep finding opportunity after opportunity, and there's actually nothing to say here. There's nothing to build up. It's just too much. So that might be Baron, but back to the important thing. You were ZDZ. Okay. Walk us through it.
So at this point, you can't really win the side lane, right? You've been outscaled by Fiora. You're down an item. Doesn't really work. You need to come to the team fight. Try and shove out the wave. Try and make sure that if you go for a play with the rest of your team, as Meiko tried to flash forward with a polymorph, didn't quite find it. Xiaohao's gonna have to flash out as well. So try and make it to a team fight. Oh, surprisingly, closer than I thought it would be. Maybe Ala ended up taking a couple of tower shots in that 1v1. Seems like the case from where the disengage came through, but you already see Ala wins side. 1v1 isn't going the way of ZDZ. Come to a team fight. I feel like you have to see, the issue is you want to try and lock down Lee, but there's so many shields and healing and peeling abilities that it just feels a little bit impossible. Landon gets interrupted here by the ultimate of Jiejie as we were trying to set up what ZDZ could maybe do. Yeah. 4-3-0 Ksante as Vei just throws his life back in. Tries to get as much damage out as he can, but frankly, not enough. The only positive here is that EDG didn't get Baron for the side of AL, so, you know, still on the map, which means that Xiaohao can still steal it.
It feels like maybe EDG are a bit shell-shocked after last game when they went for the Baron, because they're definitely, I mean, they're even more of an advantageous position this time around than they are last time, but not wanting to even, it seems like, risk of going for that, which I guess makes sense. They've been doing pretty well to find these picks, but I gotta say, Jamada, I'm a bit disappointed. Even going beyond the AL bias, there was no AL bias. It was all just because I wanted this time casting with you, this time torturing the audience, us having fun ourselves, to go on as long as possible. But it doesn't seem to be destined to be so.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think we're getting 3 games out of this series as things continue to unfold in front of us. Lyric, I feel like our time may be cut short today.
Oh, but
who knows? Maybe Hysterics. Maybe he schedules us together again.
He will. He will. I have the power to bully him into doing it. But I also want to remind everyone, match of the week later in the day. 2 series away. JDG versus LNG. Nymera, Mazel, the powerhouse combo. You don't want to miss it. Those games going to be bangers. As should be better than this one as Jiejie goes to the season assist. Able to find their way to the backline. Huge knockout with the wild throw. And I mean,
my God,
this might just be doom for AL. I feel like EDG should just be able to push the base up. This is leave. You are an absolute madman.
He's Zeriing
down, going for it. ZDZ, you're not going to be able to do anything, my dude. EDG, they take the fight. The only question left, Jamada, is if they're able to look for the end here, or if no minion wave, go towards a Baron.
It's on the way.
But, yeah.
It's on the way. Their timers, though, they're a little bit short, so they're not going to end it here. But AL's chances of potentially bringing us a game 3 may have ended with that play. That mid lane inhibitor going down should signal the Baron also being picked up. Xiaohao's only now respawning. ADG should look to close this one out as cleanly as possible. Now, if there's one thing I'll say, I don't know how much AP PingG has, but a WQ used to out-damage Baron depending on how late into the game we were. Not going to be synced up in time, though, so not going to happen today.
So, but now I want to play my favorite game. I'll let you break this down first. This one was actually pretty cool, which is
so you can actually see that Vei is very intently waiting for the ultimate to come down. But the thing is, Jiejie has Arc Shock, so he's really tanky. And then a 4-man knockup into a 3-man lightning crash comes in. And the team fight just gets routed from there. There's not really anything that anyone can do about it. I like the idea of cranking Jiejie so far away from his team that maybe they could make the team fight work, but frankly, it just doesn't come to fruition. We come out of the 3-play into an immediate team fight, and anyone's again being forced back. That's a very dead Ksante.
You know, I was just about to say, we're going to play my favorite game, which is guess the exact time that this game ends. But I don't even know there's enough time to guess the exact time because
right off this,
Yeah, this is going to go down quite fast. Kinsey now being picked off. No reason to build hype for this one because EDG have already laid all the groundwork. And sadly for AL, the groundwork not set up before the split started. Because with this loss, again, AL mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. EDG just to keep cementing themselves as the #1 team in the LPL. And hopefully, again, work your way up to clinching your place into the double Elan portion of the bracket. You would absolutely love that, and just dramatically increases your chance to being one of the 2 teams going to MSI. So this game, pretty stock and standard stuff for EDG. I now regret saying AL can match them blow for blow and went so far the other way because it was very clearly just wrong and a lie.
Yeah, it's fine. It's spreading violent misinformation about League of Legends is part of our job, right? That's how it goes down. And then you get